All right.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Happy Monday. Happy Winephabet Street Day. How is everybody?
I'm definitely having a Monday. But
Well, I don't know. It's going to get better because we're going to be drinking in a little bit. So there you have it, right?
To wet my lips.
Yes. So welcome to Winephabet Street. Today we are up to the letter S, and we do not have a guest host this month, I should say. And so Debbie and I are back to giving the education, and we're looking forward to sharing what we learned about Sancerre with you this month. So for those of you who do not know me, I am Lori Budd. My husband and I own Dracaena Wines in Paso Robles. You can find me on all of the social media as Dracaena Wines, and then as the blog and the podcast is Exploring the Wine Glass. So you can find me everywhere. I am a Paso Robles proponent and a Cab Franc champion. So Deb, how about you?
So I'm Debbie Giaquindo. I'm known as the Hudson Valley Wine Goddess. I'm a certified specialist of wine and a wine location specialist in Port and Champaign. I'm author of the book Tapping the Hudson Valley, Day Trips and Weekend Itineraries, visiting the Hudson Valley wine region. And this past weekend, we just opened a restaurant in North Wildwood, New Jersey called Trio North Wildwood. And I think that's about enough on my plate that I can handle.
I think so. I think so. Well, we're going to start the video. Let's get into it, and then we are going to clink. Wow. Okay, that was atrocious. I'm going to do that again because I can't deal with that.
I like it though. I can't hear you. Oh, wait.
Okay, now can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay, that was so many different echoes. I don't even know what was going on with that. There were like 4 different versions of that song.
Really? I only heard one.
Did you?
Yeah.
I had 4 different echoes going on.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, all right. Well, good. Woohoo!
It's Monday.
Woohoo! So there's the new video, Deb.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Thanks. Hey, I added a little Elmo in there. Did a little bit of fixing
cleaner.
things.
I like the slides. It's cleaner.
Yeah, and we got to get Trio North Wildwood in there and Dracaena Wine. So kind of worked with it a little bit, All right, next month, new song. Wait till you hear the song. All right, so it is that time. Finally, Monday at 5:04. It is time to
show.
Oh, okay. I have Pascal Jovelet.
Oh, I think I'm trying to remember. I was reading on. I've got Anthony and David Gerard.
All right. So I did not know this winery, but then when I was doing research, they're pretty well known for Sancerre. So
I think looking here, yes, because they're extremely well known. My Sancerre comes from the same vineyard.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mont Stamp Dames. So we'll get to all that.
Yes.
Yeah, because I knew when you said that Pascal, I was like, I've read that. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to get started right off the bat with the history.
Go for it.
I just need to do history. Oh, you know what, Deb? before I do that, we need to clink, clink.
Yeah, I know.
Clink. Slancha. Oh, wow. Okay. Ooh.
Really nice and clean.
That is crisp.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right, so we're going to go into the history of Sancerre. So Sancerre is actually a wine region that is located in the central Loire Valley. And it's cool. It's a medieval town. It's located in the eastern portion, and it looks over the River Loire, and it is mostly known for Sauvignon Blanc. However, there is actually Pinot Noir also planted there, and it is used in Sancerre Rouge and Sancerre Rosé. And I did really try to find a Pinot or the Sancerre Rosé, because everybody when you hear Sancerre, everybody goes to that white. And I was really trying to hope to find that little oddball wine. But alas, I was unsuccessful. Okay. So as I said, it's best known for Sauvignon Blanc, but prior to the mid 20th century, it was actually known for the light red wines. It really wasn't a white region. It was a red, and it didn't become known for the white wines until it became a protected appellation. So you can see that Sancerre is located in the easternmost region. And it's actually kind of cool because it's like hundreds of miles away from the most western portion of the Loire Valley. And it actually is closer to Burgundy's Chablis region, which has that same soil, which is that Carmignac soil that I'm sure Debbie's going to go down the rabbit hole for, because all that geekiness soil. So it is actually, I'm just going to talk about it briefly. It is just there you go. Okay. It's a gray colored limestone based soil, and it got its name because it was originally found in Kimmeridge, England. And the clay is a calcareous clay, and it also includes limestone. So as I said, that Sancerre was actually better known for its light reds before that appellation protection came about. And the reason why it went to white is because of phylloxera. So something great came out of the badness of phylloxera. So when phylloxera hit, that's when Sancerre actually changed. So prior to the destruction in the 1860s due to phylloxera, Sancerre was actually most known for Gamay and Pinot Noir, so those light reds. But then what happened was, when phylloxera, destroyed everything, when they went to go replant, they realized that the white would do much better in the environment that they were replanting it to. So the white was actually, prior to phylloxera, the really only white was a Chasselas, which is now one of the most important white wines in Switzerland. But then they got rid of that, and that's where they planted to Sauvignon Blanc. So they realized that, we all know that phylloxera destroyed the vines, and that the way to conquer phylloxera was to graft the European vines onto the American rootstocks. And that Gamay.
Laura, you froze. Or am I frozen?
Am I still frozen?
No, you're not frozen anymore.
Oh, okay. So I was just saying that the phylloxera, the way to beat the phylloxera is to graft the European vines onto the American vines. But what they realized was that Gamay and the Chasselas, and the Pinot Noir didn't really like that very much. So then they planted this, or they grafted the Sauvignon Blanc, and that took off on those grafted vines, and that's how we got to be Sancerre, being known for its Sauvignon Blanc. So overall, Sancerre covers only about a 15-mile stretch of rolling hills on the west bank of the Loire. So there's approximately 7,000 acres of vines, and they are devoted to Sauvignon Blanc. And there are about double the amount of vines today than when Sancerre's appellation was created in 1936. So it is growing substantially. Okay. The village is raised from the valley, and thanks to this, it has made the village a strategic location for most of its history. And the fact that it is raised actually is what allowed Sancerre to grow in the 11th century. But it was evident, as with like pretty much everywhere, the Romans were there and they had settled there previously. And it is thought that the Romans, like always, they were the ones who planted the original vineyards. So the village actually grew up as a circle around a church and an abbey, and it was all built in order to protect that. So then in the 12th century, they built the fortress, and it has 6 defensive towers, and this was all built to protect that abbey, to protect the region. And today, you can actually still climb one of the towers. So this is the Tour de Faiths. It was built to repel the English armies from 2 attacks during the 100 Years' War. And I mean, I'm not a big history buff, but as I was researching this, Sancerre was like at the center point of so many different wars. Like everybody just wanted this region. So after the 100 Years' War, it was also hit pretty hard during the French Wars of Religion, where the town was also the site of the infamous Siege of Sancerre, which took place from January 3rd to August 19, 1573. So this is where the Huguenots, or the Protestants population, they actually held out for nearly 8 months against the Catholic forces of the king. And then they finally had to succumb because they died of starvation, basically. So that's 2 wars. And then once again, it was a main portion in World War II as the regional center for the French resistance. So it has a lot of history into this little area. So going back to wine, grapes have been grown in Sancerre since the early times. Gregory of Tours mentioned the Sancerre vineyards in his writings as early as 582. And in the 12th century, the vineyards developed significantly under Augustine monks at Saint Sator, and then the Sancerre nobility fell in, they were drinking the wine. Sancerre was granted an AOC status in 1936, and then it wasn't until 1959 that the region was even allowed to produce Pinots and Rosés, or red wines and Rosés from Pinot Noir. So it was 23 years between it becoming an AOC and when the AOC was adjusted to be able to include the red wines. The AOC area has expanded fourfold over the years, and most recently, the last stats that I could find for the region itself was from March of 1998, where the vineyard area is 2,393 acres of white, 335 acres that are dedicated to the reds, and then 260 acres are dedicated to producing rosé. And then what's on the slide here are just the actual overall production. So overall, it's making 176,000 hectoliters, And 1 hectoliter is about 26.4 gallons. So as I said, varietals are Sauvignon Blanc and Pinot Noir. And then there are regulations of how they can grow. So there is a minimum planting density, which is 6,100 vines per hectare. And they are required to prune to specifications. So the single or double gallo or cordon de royale. So there are, as with every AOC, there are a lot of regulations going on to make them be quality driven.
And this is pretty good quality.
It shows. It shows.
I saw an email come through from Michael, and I can't get my emails hung up on my computer. If someone wants to email him that link, he wants to get in. He doesn't have a link.
Oh.
So I put the link in the chat.
In the chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I saw it come in on my tablet, but my tablet and my laptop don't talk because they're not compatible.
All right. I'll take care of it.
Okay. So I can go on to characteristics. General characteristics. So Sancerre is situated almost in the middle of the country, and they have beautiful rolling limestone hills and a semi-continental climate. So here's the soil. Now I was like really getting into it, researching it. I'm like, oh my God. I was really kind of geeking out on it. But the soil is what brings the complexity and the minerality to the Sauvignon Blanc. The freshness comes from the minerality, actually, not the acidity. And the 3 different kinds of soil here. There's the Terrace Blanc, the Silex, and the Calodes. And I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it correctly. So the Calodes here on the bottom, they are made of small limestone pebbles mixed with clay. That's dating back to the, I can't say that name of that thing, Kimmeridgian era?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know how to exactly say it either. I don't know. So, but Kimmeridge is the region, so Kimmeridgian?
Kimmeridgian? Okay. So the Terrace Blanc, which is the Kimmeridgian marl, it's a calcareous clay with Kimmeridgian limestone. And in the summer, the soil turns white. So see, there's a picture in it. It's white. I thought that was kind of interesting. And Silex lends the ability to capture and retain the heat, even in the cool areas. So that contributes to the flint taste that you get in the wine. Oops. Hold on. There's more. So digging deeper into the soil, the Terrace Blanc is the Sauvignon Blanc, the powerful body that it has. And actually, if it's a really good year for the grapes, the wine can actually age. And the soil contributes to any of the herbal notes that you might receive in the wine, the Terrace Blancs. The Calodes contributes to the lemon and the apple notes, and the Silex, you get the flinty taste to the wine. So we can go into the flavor profile. And, Sancerre is such an elegant wine. It really, when you look at Sauvignon Blancs from, New Zealand and how lacy acidity, and you wake up the next morning with the pith in your mouth. This is just a really beautiful Sauvignon Blanc. It's just really kind of a classy Sauvignon Blanc if you want, to go with that. So you're going to find gooseberries. You're going to find flint, kind of gunpowderish, refreshing, minerality, some citrus, and the citrus can be lemon, lime, grapefruit. You might get some chamomile, some honeysuckle, pink grapefruit, Meyer lemon, thyme, all that, different flavors and aromas that you will get in the wine. So that's all I actually have on characteristics. But I really think that this is just a really classy Sauvignon Blanc.
I think it's like a Chardonnay Sauvignon Blanc, or Sauvignon Blanc for Chardonnay, because typical Sauvignon Blancs that are non-Sancerre are more light-bodied, high acidity, right? You get that salivation, and they're light-bodied. They're also, mine is kind of goldish, yellow gold, where, Sauvignon Blancs, when you're thinking of New Zealand or something like that, are more like pale straw. Yeah. So this is more like a pale yellow, and it's just a fuller body on my palate than a Sauvignon Blanc, whatever.
Wow. Get sometimes like a little bit of an oily feeling.
Yes. Now, I don't know, is there a regulation of how they have to produce it in terms of staying in bottle, in terms of, steel tank?
I'm unsure. And I think I did read something, but it just didn't stick in my head.
Okay. Usually AOPs have so many, or AOCs, I'm sorry, have so many ridiculous regulations of how the wine can be produced. I'm just curious, like malolactic, is that what's causing the body, or is there an oak? I'm not tasting oak, but
it's steel. It's tanks.
Now, I know my wine is tanks, and it's still a full body. So I'm trying to figure out what, exactly, how they're getting that body.
Soil.
Right. That's the flintiness. That I think is that flint.
I also think it goes back to the soil because the silex, which lends the ability, that captures the heat and retains the heat in the soil. So even in the cool areas, the silex soil is going to retain the heat, which maybe is what gives it that extra body. And
yeah, it's interesting because it is the acidity is there, but it's a different acidity. It's not, it's not that salivating. Like you said, it's more of a coating, versus that high acidity that you get in Marlboro, where, your tongue is salivating, as you're like trying to talk after a sip.
Right. And you're not going to wake up the next morning with the grapefruit pith in your mouth.
Right.
And this is just, like I said, it's elegant. It's classy. It's,
Now, I don't know where you got yours from. When I bought mine at Total Wine, and the average price, the prices for these were $25 to like $38. So
it's funny you mention that, because I got this from my wine club, and it's a $35. They say it's a $35 bottle of wine. But I did a little research, and it was on sale at Total Wine for $21.99.
Oh, wow.
So.
And how much did they charge? They charged you the $35?
$35. No, actually, my wine club is a set amount of money every month.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So.
Oh, okay.
if I wanted to order more, it would have been $35.
35. Yeah. So I have to be honest, I don't really drink a lot of Sancerre. I don't really know why, but for me, I kind of like the lighter body. When I think Sauvignon Blanc, I'm in that lighter body mode. You know, this is a dinner Sauvignon Blanc.
I know this isn't one Sauvignon Blanc I take out on the boat,
right,
or to the pool,
right.
You know,
this is, as you said, this a sophisticated Sauvignon Blanc.
Yes, it's
right.
got high heels on, and it's stilettos and red dress.
Yes, it's going out for the evening to show itself off. Where the Sauvignon Blancs that I think that I drink more often are, you know, it's a party. You know, yes. Light, crisp, go through the wine quickly. And that's another thing. This is 13.5% alcohol. So it's not high in alcohol, but it's higher than
-2.
Yeah, it's higher than, you know, you're thinking of those, you know, Marlboro Sauv Blancs. They're usually more around the 12% ABV. So I don't know. And that's why I think it's more of like if you like Chardonnay, unoaked Chardonnay, I should say. Mm-hmm. I think this is more of a Sauvignon Blanc for you. Because of that complexity that's there.
And if you're bothered by the acidity in like a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, this type of Sancerre, you won't have a problem.
Right. If you're not a true acid head, I think this is a nice Sauvignon Blanc for you. For me, I mean, mine was $26 or $25. I personally would take 2 of my normal Sauvignon Blancs for my palate. But if I was going to a dinner and I was going someplace where I was bringing a bottle of wine for a larger group of people, and we were sitting down and enjoying the evening with food and all that, that's where this comes in. Yeah. I think it's a matter of what the situation is that you're looking for.
I wouldn't bring it to a barbecue, but I would bring it to a dinner party.
Right. Now that's kind of funny because according to Sancerre's website itself, fried chicken and grilled chicken are good for the Pinots. Really? So if you can find a Pinot from Sancerre, then you could bring it to
bring it to the barbecue.
Bring it to the barbecue. There was not a single Pinot where I was. And Karen in the chat said that she enjoys the rosés. She's enjoyed Sancerre rosés, and I've never had one of those either.
Found the rosés, the Sancerre rosés. So, what kind of liquor store?
Yeah. So Karen, if you could give us a little hint on where you're finding them. Obviously better than my local Total Wines. I don't have any really small wine shops here that can kind of cater to certain things. So, but, so I'm going to go into my, wine itself, if I can find it. Okay. So my wine is Pascal Jolivet. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but so as I said to you, Deb, before we went live, and it's 2019, I really didn't know one winery from the next. I picked it because it wasn't the cheapest, it wasn't the most expensive, and it had a high rating from, whoever was in Total Wine was recommending it on their little shelf talkers. So I got it. And I'm not going to lie, the label was really cute. It's like a little cloud, I think it's clouds. I'm not really sure. And then it says, wow, Route de Chagnel Sancerre. I don't know. That's really small font in that cloud. And then as I did the research, it turned out that it's a pretty popular and pretty well-respected winery. So Domaine Pascal Olivet. Oops. No. Yeah, no, I just hit the wrong button. I was in it and then I got out of it by accident. Here we go. Okay. All right. So these guys, I'm so informal. These guys, the winery kind of predates actual winemaking for this business. So the original business was actually created by Louis and Lucien Olivet, and they entered the wine industry in 1926. But this father and son actually created a wine merchant company. So they weren't producing wine; they were selling wine. And it wasn't until 1987 that the Pascal Olivet brand was actually created. And Pascal is actually Louis's great grandson. So at that time, he was actually working for Maison Pommery Champagne, and he apparently still does. So he still is working with them, with the Champagne House, and then he has his own brand. And so in 1990, he built a new winery, and it was made, but at this point, up to this point, it was still made with sourced fruit. And it wasn't until 1993 that Pascal actually ended up purchasing his first vineyard site. And it was at the urging of his father to say, you want to be making wine from estate fruit so you could be a domain. So in 1993, he finally purchased a vineyard site, and that's when he became a domain. And then in 1995, he actually purchased 16 acres in Pouilly-Fumé. And I think that, well, I don't know, I could be talking out my butt here, but I think that's kind of a unique thing with this wine, is that the fruit, even though it's Sauvignon Blanc, the fruit or this wine is made from fruit from Sancerre and fruit from Pouilly-Fumé. And those are two very different types of regions. So I think that adds a bit to the complexity of this wine. And I don't know how many other wineries are doing something like that, but he owns vineyard sites in different regions, and he brings them in to produce that complexity within the wine. And then, so this is a blend of both Pouilly-Fumé and Sancerre, but he's allowed to call it Sancerre. And I couldn't find what that regulation was to allow it to be called Sancerre. Like normally you would think it would have to be 100% from that region, but his is not, and it still has Sancerre on it. So I don't know what makes that regulation. In 2000, he actually built another new state-of-the-art winery, and he owns approximately 120 acres. And the fruit is made approximately of 80% of the wine is from his estate. And he still does purchase about 20% of the fruit that he uses from people that he's had contracts with since the 1980s. So he's got these long-term contracts with these growers, and that produces about 20%. So as you can see in this picture, I mean, it's very state-of-the-art. It's all stainless steel tanks. He's very much into the kind of natural aspect of winemaking. So it is all indigenous yeast. His goal is to enhance the fruit character in his wines and provide a sheer elegance and precision. Those are the words that he has all over his website, is elegance and precision. And then in 2016, to continue with that whole concept of elegance and natural, he teamed up with the Donny family, who are actually pioneers in the organic viticulture. And they were kind of the people who led the way in this region for organic winemaking. And I think that's what you were saying. That's where your wine, the vineyard, comes from.
Well, no, mine comes from a vineyard called Les Monts, Damnes.
Oh, damn. Oh, okay. So this is what the bottle looks like. So I think it's a vineyard. This makes it look a lot, clearer than what's actually on the bottle itself. But I'm guessing it's a vineyard with some trees and things, but on the label itself, it looks like clouds. So like I said, this is the 2019 Pascal Jolivet Sancerre. I paid $25 for it. And on the capsule itself, it says exceptional lure wine for the connoisseur. So he's setting you up right up from the bat that he's taking himself above the others, that it's not a entry wine lover wine, right? It's a connoisseur to be able to appreciate what he's doing with this wine. All the fruit is hand harvested from the different vineyard sites, and then they are fermented separately in stainless steel tanks. The vineyards that it comes from actually have three vineyards, three different soils. So 50% of the fruit comes from limestone soils, which he says adds minerality and finesse. 30% comes from vineyards that have limestone clay, which he says enhances the fruit and richness. And then 20% comes from vineyards with flint soils, which adds structure and minerality. And as I said, it's 100% indigenous yeast. The winery was built to deal with gravity, to produce wine with gravity flow or gravity feed. So it's gentler to the fruit, and it is all biodynamically grown. And this wine spends 6 months on lees and is a blend of Sauvignon Blanc, like I said, from both Sancerre and Poulet Fumé.
Nice.
Yeah. And I agree. It is definitely not a newbie wine.
I'm really liking this.
Mine has the lemon. It's definitely got the flint. It's got the acidity, but instead of being on the sides, it's kind of more on the tip. The finish is very long. And as you said, it's funny. It's almost like you were tasting this wine. It's got that oilness to it. It's really a medium plus to almost a full minus bodied wine. And I think it needs food.
Yeah. So mine is Anthony and David Gerard.
Okay.
And it comes from the Les Monts Dames Vineyard. So this Les Monts, I should pull up my PowerPoint. There aren't that many pictures. I tried to research this vineyard. But from what I understand, this is the Le Monts Dames Vineyard, and it is the Grand Cru vineyard for Sauvignon Blanc in Sancerre. And so this is produced by Anthony and David Gerard. And Anthony Gerard took over the domain from his great grandfather started. And excuse me, his great grandfather was the original Gerard to plant vines on the Les Monts Dames vineyard, which is in the hamlet of Chavignon. And Anthony's brother David joined the business in 2015. So that's where you get the Anthony and David Gerard. And they farm 3 hectares on Le Mont's Dames, where their vines are now more than 70 years old. So this kind of reminds me, this vineyard of, in Burgundy. Oh my gosh, my mind is drawing a blank. The Chardonnay. I have a picture of me standing in front of it.
I don't know.
Famous Chardonnay. My mind is drawing a blank. I'll think of it after this over. But this supposedly the Sauvignon Blanc that comes from this vineyard is just incredible. And I don't think I have any pictures. The Le Mont's Dames vineyard is extremely steep, and everything is hand harvested. They actually use winches to transport the grapes up and down the slopes.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
That image is very deceiving.
Yes.
Because you can tell there's an incline, that for looking at it, the left of the image you can tell is a higher grade than the right of the image.
Right.
But it doesn't look like it's a very steep incline.
Not like in like Austria.
Yeah, but if they're using winches and stuff, then
it must be. So it's a chalky Cameridian limestone, which is the product of fossilized seashells from a Jurassic area that produces the wine of, this elegant, classy, going out to be the star of the show wine. And they say, just similar, they compare it to like the Grand Cru of Chablis, because this is what they're, it's like the Grand Cru of Sauvignon Blanc that comes from this vineyard. So it is harvested and it is fermented using ambient yeast in stainless steel tanks. And it's aged as well for creating a white, it says here, a white wine of breathtaking purity and primal energy. Now, this is a 2018. So this wine is 3 years old. So to me, I kind of like drinking my Sauvignon Blancs within a year or two. Mm-hmm. I probably would never have picked this off the shelf. Personally,
but that's where I'm curious of if there's a regulation of how long they have to hold it, because mine is a 2019, so that's why I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to Google.
This is the label. And it's just really, it is nice. Like I said, I do feel the oily texture on it. There is hints of grapefruit, pear, maybe tart green apple on the nose.
Okay. Well, it is a cool wine region, so that makes sense.
I get more grapefruit on the palate. I get other citrus notes, probably more like lemon. Could even be a Meyer lemon, because it's not a real strong, bitter lemon, type of thing. And I almost, when I first tasted it, I got a little honeysuckle, but I think
really
just when I first poured it,
Opened
but I
it.
don't get that now. I don't get that now. So, but it is. My hair is driving me nuts. It is. It is nice and it's elegant. Um, I mean, I like it. It's not, you know, it's just amazing to see the whole difference of the
same group
of the same grape grown in the different regions and how much the terroir really affects what is in your glass.
Absolutely. So this says that most Sancerre is produced without malolactic fermentation and very little oak influences. However, recently, more producers are beginning to experiment with oak fermentation and or aging. So I don't know.
I like it with no oak.
See,
I'm kind of picky because I like the expression of the fruit.
Right. See, this to me either has oak influence, like it's not buttery. It's not like that, but it either has oak influence or it went through a partial mallow. It's just too full bodied. It's just too, not enough fruit for me that it's say that to me. I don't know. Maybe my palate's off today. I don't know. And also, the yields of Sancerre are limited to a maximum of 60 hectoliters per hectare, where the Rosé and Rouge are 55. And then minimum alcohol content is 10.5, but there is no maximum. There is no maximum ABV regulation. But it doesn't have anything about does it age for X amount of time or in bottle for X amount of time before release. So, I mean, I don't know. This is a 19, so mine is like really only kind of, if you think of Sauvignon Blanc, we're probably drinking 2020s, right? For New World. So 2019 is not that far, but you've got a 2018.
So I mean, I wonder what kind of year 18 was, their growing season. So if I can
yeah. I mean, being cool weather, that green apple, as the temperatures increase, you go more into that tropical zone. As as cool weather, you get those green apple, more herbaceous. My 19, I don't really have herbaceousness in here. Do you have any?
No, I don't.
No. No, I'm getting, now that it's kind of been sitting for a while, I'm getting a little pineapple, a little tangerine, like, wait, maybe not tangerine. Wait, no, that might be peach. Peach, not tangerine. More like a peach. So there is tropical notes, and there's a little bit of flower. There's a little bit, but
they say this. This says, drink now through 2030.
Oh,
I don't know if I would drink it in 2030, let alone 2025.
Well, how now? You know what? I don't know. That's a pretty broad out there, and that's another thing. I don't know about Sancerre, about what they're aging.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
That's something you got to Corvin and make sure you got to know for when you drink it.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to move on to food pairings. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, right, we know that Sancerre is really known for Sauvignon Blanc, but it is also have some Pinot Noir. So I did the food pairings in two different ways. I did some food pairings for Sauvignon Blanc, and then I did food pairings for if you were lucky enough to find one. Now, according to Sancerre's website, the aging potential is really only 2 to 3 years for the Sauvignon Blanc. And they say up to 5 for 10 for some of the cuvées. So they're disagreeing with them. All right. So for the Sauvignon Blanc, we have grilled peach, rice, and arugula salad. And I actually really think that this one would go well with mine.
It would go well with mine too.
Yeah. And then spaghetti alla, I don't know, with what are those things? Clams? No, not
cheddar garlic.
Yeah, yeah. Remove the clams, and I'm okay with that. Okay, but I don't know. I think the pancetta. I can see the pancetta working well with this. Okay, foie gras, not happening.
Not happening to me either.
And it actually does say game birds.
I can see that, having been to France. And if I had gotten served any more, it was
game.
Oh God, yeah. It was, yeah. I see this going nicely with that.
Okay. All right. And then obviously, you know, spicy foods. And this, I think, firecracker chicken, I think would be actually really good with it. Because that's just the Sauvignon Blanc. And it does have that higher acidity. It's just in a different form than what we're used to in the New Zealand ones. But I do think this would go well. What about you, Deb?
I don't know.
You think it
might go well because it's not it's spicy food, and I think when I think of spicy food, I want to pair it with a wine maybe that's got a little bit of residual sugar in it to combat to combat the spiciness in it. I can see where that's kind of fried, so I get the fried and the
right
part. I'm not sure I'm buying into the spice.
I think that it can coat your tongue to calm down the heat,
like because the oiliness and
yeah. So then the next ones I have are for the Pinot Noir. Okay, so Pinot Noir, it's fried chicken, lamb chops, you know, typical things that you can do with Pinot. Asian chicken, okay, sticky Asian chicken, veal francais.
Now, see, I almost would say the veal with the Sauvignon Blanc.
Really?
Because the butter, lemony sauce.
Yeah, there is a little lemon. There's a little bit of citrus in here, so it might be able to bring that out. Yeah, could be. Yeah, that was their recommendation for their Pinot. But you know, as we say all the time, everybody's palate is different, and you never know what pairing's going to. You know, there might be textbook. This is the best pairing, and it's just not for you.
Right.
So give it a try and see where it goes.
Yeah. So we'll end here with some fun facts.
Fun facts.
So my notes here.
This is what I think is one of the most intriguing things about Sancerre.
Because it's so close to Chablis.
Mm-hmm.
It is located at the eastern edge of the Loire Valley's main vineyard area, and it's closer to Côte d'Or in Burgundy than it is to any of the Loire Valley's wine districts. It's only 50 miles from Chablis. I mean, it's not far at all.
It has so much more similarities with Chablis than with the rest of the Loire.
Yep. Mm. I'm having a hot flash, so I got to drink some wine. So here we go with the geeky on the soil. So the how do you say it again, Lori?
Kimmergen
soils of Chablis are featured in
Kimmeridge.
In the
Kimmeridgian.
Okay, soils of Chablis are featured in the terroir of Sancerre, and the ridge extends down through Chablis. So that's the. I'm using my pointer, but nobody can see.
You can see it.
So, but I just think that is so cool. Sorry, I was just getting really into the soil. So there are 3 different types of soil in the Sancerre region. The Caliotes is 40%, and it's pure limestone. Terres Blanches, which is it's also 40%, and that's the Kimmergen clay limestone, and the Silex, which is flint. And this lays out where the different soils are in the area. And I know you can't even see me doing this. So World War II put Sancerre on the map, and a lot of Parisians didn't want to visit the beaches in Normandy, so they went to Sancerre and discovered the wine region. So Route 7 passes close to Sancerre, and it became the new hotspot for travel. So they talk about Route 7 being similar to Route 66. You know, and people started, taking the train down and everything. And that's how, it kind of boomed with tourism and wine too, because they really liked the wines that they were drinking in Sancerre. And so Sauvignon Blanc accounts for 80% of the production, and Pinot Noir and Gamay are the reds that are produced in the appellation. And going way back, that appellation was actually, as Lori covered, it was really first known for the reds, the Gamay and the Pinot, before it was ever known for Sauvignon Blanc. So, and that's all I got.
All right.
And we're coming up on 9:00.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody.
Really,
what, Deb?
The hour really flies by.
Yes, it does. It's a fast hour on Winephabet Street.
And I hope everybody's enjoying a nice Sancerre. Are either of you guys, Lori or Michael, Karen, are you drinking a Sancerre?
I don't know. Well, while they're telling us if they're drinking a Sancerre, next month we are up to the letter T, and we are going to be doing Tavel, which is known for they are rosé. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about that, and we are having a special guest, Val Caruso from Wine Unboxed or Val Unboxed, and Vino with Val. And so check her out on social media, and she's going to come in. And the reason why we're having her come is because she has a podcast of her own, and I listened to it, and she has done a couple of podcasts on Tavel, and she just really, really loves it. So we're going to kind of geek out together with her and let her share her expertise on the topic as we drink some Tavel.
So I'm looking here, Michael.
No
one's got any. Oh, you don't have any Sancerre in your cellar. Well, you might have to get some because they're supposed to age well.
Yes. So Deb, when is the next date?
The next date. Good question. It's see, I'm all discombobulated from this restaurant shit. Ooh, I shouldn't be. My thing froze. It is whatever let me look up the calendar.
It's the 3rd, right?
The 3rd.
Is it the 19th or 18th or something like that?
It is. That's June 21st, I think. Yeah, 7/14, June 21st.
Okay. And we are going to be drinking next month. We're going to be drinking.
We're going to be drinking
Chateau de Acaria Tavel Rosé. It's a 2018.
This is what we'll be drinking.
Yes. So we will be sipping on that and listening to Val Caruso tell us all about the wines, how they're made, what makes them special. So we hope you can join us.
And thank you guys very much for joining us tonight. And we hope you learned a little bit more about Sancerre. And enjoy.
Have a great month. Yes. I'm kind of. Slancha.
Cheers.
Bye.